Hi, and welcome to another episode of Boozing with Boomers. I'm Dave, and I've been on a quest to learn how to make a great balanced cocktail. So please hit the subscribe button so we can go on this journey together. Today we are going to make the Francesco, which was invented at Bellina in Chicago, which unfortunately is no longer with us. But I found their recipe from a website called Kindred Cocktails that was founded by Dan Chadwick back in 2010. He, along with 3 other curators, are focused on the pursuit of the ideal cocktail recipe database. So check them out if you get a chance, because it's a great resource for cocktails. And I am going to start posting some of my cocktails up there as well. The Francesco is a spirit-only drink that is extremely balanced with layers of flavors, which makes it dangerously smooth. So this is a great one to get the party started. So let's get started. Also, I want to talk a little bit more about what you have in your bar, because as I make cocktails for friends and I bring out the ingredients, the one thing I tell everyone is make sure you keep your Vermouth in the refrigerator. Make sure to keep your Amaro in the refrigerator. While these are both a little bit fortified, not enough that it should be left at room temperature. However, my whiskeys and any other liquor is usually sitting in the bar or sitting in a cabinet off to the side. So when I am making a cocktail, they're starting at different temperatures. And technically, when you're talking about a stirred or shaken drink, it's assuming a lot of the bottles or a lot of the liquids are starting at the same temperature, and they're not. What's good about this, at least for me personally, I would rather not have too much water in a cocktail, because you can always add water, especially if it's on the rocks, it's going to take it naturally. But I never want to over dilute. If you've ever been to a bar, asked for a spirit forward or a spirit only drink, and it gets to you and it's tasteless, usually they've shaken it when it should be stirred and they've overdone it, whether it was because they had too much going on and let the ice sit too long or just did it too long. And to me, that ruins a cocktail, because you want all of these flavors. But if you have a couple things chilled and a couple things warm, even if I follow the rule book of 20 seconds for stirred and 30 seconds for shaken, I am safe to assume it will not be over diluted, and I just have to worry about whether I need more dilution in there or not. And depending how I'm serving it will give me options, and depending on who I'm serving it to. So a lot of my guests, I've learned what they like. If they like stronger drinks, I make them the way I like them. If they don't, I will make sure that I stir it and chill it and dilute it as best I can, so it's more to their liking. All right, so let's get started. This is a rye-based drink, and I am using today Dad's Hat Rye, which is a Pennsylvania rye in my home state. A very, very solid rye, so I wanted to start something with a little bit different. We've got Averna Amaro. We've got Cinzano Sweet Vermouth. You can step this up and go for Carpano. But again, I think Cinzano is a solid thing for about half the price, solid Vermouth for about half the price. And then Cointreau. And when I first had this cocktail, I really wasn't sure what Cointreau added to what really is a black Manhattan with sweet vermouth, or a Manhattan with a little bit of Averna. And it adds this depth of flavor that comes through. So they all play really well together. So let's get started in a minute. Okay, now by the magic of television, if you've noticed, I needed to pour in the ingredients, which I forgot to do before setting up today. And the important part of this too is understanding when we say most expensive to least expensive drink, we're also talking about volume. So these are equal parts. Cointreau, while being close to one of the more expensive ones up here, I'm using the least. So this cocktail only requires per cocktail 1/4 ounce of Cointreau, but I'm making 2 today, one for you and one for me. Then it's equal parts of the rest. So then 3/4 Italian Vermouth, 3/4 of the Averna, and 3/4 of Dad's Hat Rye. And you can use your favorite rye. This is one of those cocktails that a good solid rye is important, but you could use your favorite, or try Dad's Hat, because I was very impressed. The other thing, if you notice, I always use multiple containers, trying to save a little bit of time. But each container, and I learned this the hard way, doesn't always measure up. So I found out I've got this beautiful beaker here set to 1, 2, and 3 ounces, and also tablespoons, which allows me to go half ounces because it's 2 tablespoons per ounce. But I realized this does not line up correctly at all. So when I'm making a cocktail, I'm usually using the same. Oxy has always been consistent in their measuring cups. So I will always use what I know is my best measuring cup. But when you're talking about proportions, what really matters is use the same measuring cup, because even if it's a little bit off, it's going to be consistent across everything that you pour. So keep that in mind, and actually go to your kitchen now and test it out with a few different things. I was fascinated by how much you rely on the markings on something that you buy for measuring. And my opinion is, when it's used in the kitchen, it's usually better than when it's just kind of a fun little beaker that you decide to throw into your laboratory to make cocktails. So that was one lesson learned, that hopefully I can save you from making a bad cocktail, and you won't realize that it was a bad cocktail, not because of the recipe, but because you used 2 different things to put the measures in there and it was out of balance. Because the whole goal of all of our cocktails are very well balanced. Okay, we have a stirred cocktail. We will put plenty of ice in there. I always make the mistake of talking while I reach for ice, so I try to pause. You technically can't put too much ice in, because what you're trying to do is chill it down quickly and not dilute it too much. I realize I can talk to you a little bit because I do have some chilled vermouths and Amaro, but we're going to stir this for 30 seconds. Which is longer than the ABC song, so I'm going to try to slow down my singing, and I'll be right back. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I said my ABCs. Next time, won't you get with me? Okay, haven't done a stirred drink in a while. All right, let's create one for you. Now also this cocktail, the Francesco, oops, almost forgot a taste for myself, is served with no garnish. But when I am talking to people, sometimes the question is, what can you make me with the maraschino cherries? So again, I like Luxardo. I've heard of other brandied cherries as well, but I think adding a cherry is not going to hurt this drink at all. Not going to see it in there. What I'll do is I'll just stir that in a little bit into mine. It will complement it, because I kind of look at this as kind of a more elegant Manhattan with the addition of the Cointreau. So let's see how I did. So what's incredible about this, and if you're a Manhattan lover, this is over the top. What's interesting is, if you think Manhattans are too strong, what I like about this cocktail is it kind of flips it on its side, that it's a much more balanced from an alcohol standpoint. So it's a lighter cocktail, believe it or not. The Cointreau adds a dimension that I didn't expect. So even though it's only a 1/4 ounce, the orange is there, not overpowering, but it is there, and it kind of builds as this layer of flavor. The rye you use will make a difference, but like I said, you use a good solid rye, you'll get those rye components, and the Averna plays really well with the sweet vermouth. So I really like this. This is probably one of my favorite cocktails, and so I hope you try it this weekend. And please put comments so I understand what you like. And also remember, if there are recipes out there that you would like me to make for you on air, please let me know, and I will put that into my library to make in a future episode. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe so we could go on this journey with Boozing with Boomers together. Thank you, and cheers.